Black widows are one of the most dangerous spider species of all time.
If it bites you once, you gotta go right to the hospital.
And this guy thought it'd be a good idea to have it as a pet. Let's find out what happened.
I just found this video where a guy named Coyote Peterson lets a black widow crawl all over his arm. Watching this made me think that maybe black widows weren't as vicious as I thought, and maybe I could keep one as a
Oh my
pet.
God, it's
reason,
gross.
I
I thought they were bigger.
Website that'll sell me just that.
40 bucks, that's it?
Sell these as pets, bro. I don't know. Let me just add this to
He's
the
in the
cart.
dark
And thanks
web.
to the one-day delivery, literally the next day, I
What?
opened up my door to the package.
I wonder who is like collecting these black widows to sell them, you know? They gotta be some messed up creature out there that's just out there in the wild. Ooh, I got another one. I got another one. They must have gotten bit like 1,000 times.
There's probably somebody that like has a farm. Like, you know, in Minecraft, you could create like a farm for different things. Somebody probably has a black widow farm where they're breeding these and then selling them for profit.
That makes way more
$40.
sense.
$40. $40.
Up my door to the package. Okay, there we go. I guess this should be the Black Widow. And I genuinely think this is the most venomous
Live
pet I've kept
animal.
on the channel. But anyways, let's go open this up. So I brought it to my table and opened the package up. After carefully taking out the packing material, I then took out the container that had a black
Whoa.
Oh my gosh.
Oh,
Here
God.
it is, a literal black widow.
Oh,
But I did just
God.
figure something out
Thank God he
because
labeled it.
Apparently I didn't order
Black.
If you look down at this box,
Oh my gosh.
Oh!
yeah, apparently I
What?
accidentally placed the order for a 3-pack, so now I
Oh.
have 3.
$40. $40.
But I wanted to take a closer look, so I opened up a container to let a spider out. And I guess it was a bit
God.
busy because instantly it fell on its back to reveal that.
Whoa, okay. So it's mainly black, but then it has like the red hourglass, which is how you know it's a black widow, right?
Yeah. You have to look at its belly. That's right.
I don't know. I'm not a spider expert.
No, I do know that because there's a lot of them in our area, actually. I was doing a school project once where I had to build something out of wood, and I gathered some, and a black widow was crawling on me. Very scary.
Do you know, was it a male or a female?
It was a female.
Oh my.
No, because I started poking it with the stick to see, and it did have like the red thing on the bottom.
Because only the females are deadly.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
This one even knows jujitsu, so this one's like double deadly.
He's
That
ready
is
to
true.
roll.
And if you get bit by it, you turn into Spider-Man?
No, that's not real.
A different
That's
type?
not how it
Okay.
works.
Iconic red hourglass shape, which warns you that this spider is nothing to mess around
my
with.
gosh.
It has a potent bite.
Those fangs.
Shoot, it's trying to escape.
Whoa, whoa, whoa!
Okay.
Nice.
I gotta be more careful with these things, man. But these 3 spiders aren't gonna spin webs in these tiny containers. They were gonna need a proper enclosure, which I needed to build by first covering
Sticky
a bunch of spray foam
glue!
with
There
dirt
it
and
is!
wood chip stuff to make the background.
There we
But in
go,
the middle,
baby.
I put
This
in
is
this
my
rock
favorite part.
background and spray foamed normal rocks to it. You see, I'm gonna separate the enclosure into a forest, a cave, and a home interior to see
like
where
Minecraft
black widows
biomes.
like to make webs and hunt the most. For the home interior part, I
Wow.
got a piece of styrofoam and painted a brick pattern onto it to, you know, make it look like
Oh,
a brick
cool.
wall like a lot of homes have.
They'll never
So I
know.
That's
spray
pretty
foamed
cool.
that in, and the background was now complete. And now we gotta do the web building bases. Basically what that means is we just put sticks and stuff so the spiders can spin their webs in here. To start, I'm gonna lay down a
Very
simple
smart.
substrate across the entire enclosure that I'll be able to customize to each environment. But first of all, the forest, and as I'm sure you can imagine, we're gonna put some wood in here, just enough on the 2 sides for a solid
Oh.
web to be made in
Do
between.
you think, since he's got a 3-pack, do you think that they'll like respectively have their own section? Like maybe the Black Widows have 3 different personalities.
It could happen, and if they're like territorial, then they're not gonna want to make a base near each other, so that definitely could happen.
I think the only time where they might fight each other is over some food. But I think for the most part, black widows are pretty shy. Like, they're not very aggressive unless they have to be.
Just like me.
And then I'm even gonna glue some moss coming down from the ends of the branches so it sort of looks like leaves on a tree. And then I'm gonna get this bag of leaves that I bought. And don't ask me why I didn't just pick them up
Yeah,
from
what?
outside. I don't know why I bought these. But anyways, with those, I scattered them along the bottom, so it looked like a forest floor with all the fallen leaves everywhere. And last but not least, I got some tiny rocks and scattered them around too. Just a few, because I gotta save most for the cave. And speaking of the cave, we're gonna start right away by laying down some rocks, because that's pretty much
cool.
all they got. But as you can see in this photo, there's actually a bunch of these pointy rocks called stalagmites. And I think they would work perfectly in my enclosure, so let me get some. Alright, so I've got a big rock
Walmart?
and a hammer right there, so I guess let me just try to carve some
This
of those
is DIY,
stalagmites
baby.
out of this. So I guess I'll just go
Whoa.
and try and hit it. I don't really know if this is gonna
Oh,
work,
cool.
but it's gonna break. Eventually.
What do you think his mom thinks he's doing in his room when she just hears
She knows exactly what he's doing. He's building another enclosure. He does this at least once a week.
Okay, what did your mom think, Alec, when you were in high school and you were banging on a rock?
Alec was banging his desk from Fortnite.
That's true.
Next question.
After a bit of hitting, I got a few pieces that, when connected, sorta looked like stalagmites. So I went and attached them together with spray
7
foam.
out of 10.
And then using more
There we
spray
go.
foam,
That
I
does
stuck
not
them all
look
in
like a
place, pointing up
stalactite.
in the cave
DIY
section of the enclosure.
stalagmite.
Finally, I went and sprinkled some normal colored rocks around, and then some different colored rocks around, because, yeah, we literally just put rocks everywhere for this section.
Do you think he found those rocks, or he also ordered those rocks?
He definitely ordered those rocks.
Probably
100%.
order them from Walmart.
Some dude is making bank off Terra Green, just buying leaves and rocks.
I thought that Black Widows only lived like in wooded areas. So I'd be surprised if any of them actually end up making base camp in this middle section. My bet is all 3 are actually gonna go to the left.
Definitely are going to go into a cave because they like dark, scary areas.
Yeah, I would go cave all day.
But
No,
probably
no, that's not because
the
look,
brick.
they hunt insects, and there's not that many insects in caves, but like in a forest, that's where they.
There's so many insects in caves. Are you serious?
There's
yes.
so many. Have you ever been in a cave? Clearly not.
There's spiders. There's ants.
There are. I'm not saying there's 0, but compared to a forest, that's where all the insects are. All the insects are in forests.
They're underground, Alec. They're underground. They're little creepy crawlies for a reason. They're crawling around in the caves.
Yeah, but that's not what spiders hunt. They hunt like flies.
Sometimes. They'll probably hunt whatever.
Grasshoppers. All right, watch. We'll find out.
Yeah, let's
They even
watch.
eat their own
Let's
kind.
watch. Let's find out.
These guys know
Once the
nothing about
spray foam
spiders.
dries, I'm gonna go in and paint it, but for now, let's work on the home interior section. And to start,
What is he
I've
gonna
got
put
this
in there?
target, like,
He's good-
material, which
okay.
I'm gonna cut out the shape, and then
Oh.
I'm just gonna go
He's
and
making
put
it
in
homey.
there, and boom.
He's
Now, I
getting
need
too
to get
creative
some
with these
mini-
videos.
Okay, I will say if any Black Widow does make base in the home, that is terrifying for me because that means that Black Widows would make base in our homes, which I would not want that.
That is true.
Any home furniture
I don't
in
think they
here
will.
that the spider will be able to spin his webs from.
My only idea for how I can get that is to build it with some Legos. So yeah. let's get going,
Oh,
baby.
cool.
First of all, using
He's having
black
too
bricks,
much fun in
I
these
them up
videos,
into
man.
this
Yeah.
little lampshade thing. Then with some red bricks, I made a tiny little couch. Now a chair made of
Legos.
brown bricks. Finally, I just took the rest of my bricks to make a randomly color assorted red and white shelf. Yeah, I'm a master builder, as you can tell. Anyways, I went and put each of those inside and even got some little dollhouse
what?
furniture to fill in
This
the
is
dead
so
space,
cool.
and boom, shakalaka.
Terry
That's
Green,
I
what are we
call a
doing here?
home house
It looks
interior.
awesome.
I know a lot of Black Widows love to live inside houses, so one of them should definitely like this place.
But the next step on the list is to get some plants, like always. So you already know. Let's go to the plant store.
First of all, I went to Walmart and just got a couple tiny plants for the forest section of the enclosure, but then I also drove to Home Depot, which I knew would have a slightly larger selection.
And basically here, I want to get something that's gonna work for the cave, and ooh, something like this actually could work as
Only
like
15
sleeping bags
billies?
or something. That'll actually
Plant.
work perfect.
Then finally, I went to Office Max.
Now you
For
might be
what?
wondering what plants I'm gonna
He's
get
buying a
out of
TV
Office
so they can
Max,
watch
But
a
actually, I'm
printer?
not even getting any plants. I'm actually gonna be printing out some pictures to put as paintings in the house interior. Oh yeah.
This is making me so mad. Bro buys leaves. He buys rocks. But he can't buy a printer? He's gonna go to Office Depot Max to print out the paper? What is his thought process?
He's got a print, Adam. Some people don't have printers.
He can't buy a printer? He buys rocks and leaves?
Printers are like $200 these days, Adam. He's got to save the budget for leaves and plants. Plants are expensive, Adam.
Okay.
This is Terra Green, Adam. This isn't Terra Print.
He's still spending money on plants because paper is a tree.
Yeah,
So-
Adam, you rapscallion.
Alec, you owe me one smack later. Sorry.
Oh yeah.
I wonder what kind of pictures he's gonna print.
go.
Maybe
When I
Spider-Man?
got home, I first put the two
Wait, were
land
they all
plants
AI?
in
Dude,
the
what
forest
was
section,
that?
which, as you can see, I ended up getting a beautiful red plant to match the
Ooh,
red on
that's
Black
so cool.
Widows.
It
Then
looks
I
like
took apart the
Spider-Man.
plant from Home Depot and glued the vines coming down from
That's
the top
cool.
of the cave section. Finally,
Now
I
we're
glued some more
talking.
moss all along the forest section because I felt like it wasn't green enough. And then I added a bit of this dead type of fern moss along parts of the cave because I felt like it matched pretty well.
Oh, and I almost forgot the most important
Wow.
part: the stupid AI-generated pictures for the house interior.
So I cut them out and glued them alongside.
Dude, he
of
only
the
printed
brick
out
wall.
one
There
piece
were
of
many
paper.
Great works of
You
art,
made a
like
spider
a black widow
butterfly?
flying in the sky with wings, a black
That
widow
is
dancing
crazy.
in a disco room,
I hope
and
that
a
never
black
exists.
widow eating a male after mating. Which yes,
Oh,
they
I
actually
was gonna
do
say.
wild.
That's what they do. That's why they got their name, Black Widow.
Yeah, there's actually a lot of spiders that do that, where they'll breed, and then the female will then eat the male.
Yeah, and the males are usually a lot smaller than the females.
Then females got that yabba dabba do.
What?
Wild black widows are actually cannibals towards other female black widows, which means my 3 black widows cannot be able to access each other, or, you know, they'd probably eat each other.
So I've got these acrylic sheets, which should act as good separators.
That makes way more sense
So
now.
I went and measured them to size, and
That's
then cut
kind of
them
lame.
out.
I want to
There we
see
go,
them
that fits
fight.
perfectly.
I want to see a
Now,
cat
last
fight.
but not least,
Meow.
I'm gonna put in one of these reptile foggers.
Basically, when you turn this dial, it spits a bunch of fog out the end of this
Whoa.
tube. Black widows love a high humidity to make their webs, so this should encourage them to
vaping.
do that quickly. And while I would say this enclosure is now 100% complete, but that does mean
These are teenage black widows.
They can't help themselves.
Which one's your favorite? Which of these 3 is your favorite? I think I like the middle one.
Dude, the left 2 are like very cool. What is going on with the right section? That was a miss.
Yeah, he tried something different. Usually he knocks it out of the park with these enclosures, but I honestly think that the spider might like the one on the right the most.
How are we ever even
Why?
really going to know? Like, we can't interview them. Excuse me, Miss Black Widow. How was your experience in this Lego enclosure? You know?
It was nice. It was fun. We'll be able to base it based on how much they move around and how big their webs are.
That's true.
Okay.
I'll be keeping an eye on that. Badunka.
Huh?
widows loose in here, which I'm kind of scared to do, but let's just do it.
And as you can see, I've got the 3 black widows in their
I'd be
own
so
little
scared to touch
containers.
them.
So I've got the first one. Let's let this guy loose into the forest. Then I'm gonna put the second one into the cave.
Can they
section.
jump? I feel like it's about
Then
to jump.
finally, the third
Only
black
jumping
widow
spiders
in
can
the
jump.
interior
Ew.
section.
And while all the spiders were now in their new home, I took an interest to the one in the forest area. You see, this one immediately started to crawl all around her new home and even made her way up to the roof of the enclosure. There on
that's
the roof, you
scary.
can see she started to walk around with a little strand of
looking
silk
for
coming out
escape
the end of the
exits.
abdomen.
she's
She
making
was
the webs.
already building a web. Spiders, of course, do this to catch prey, and black widows in specific have some of the strongest silk
Wow.
out of any spider, which is somehow produced in these little silk glands that they have. Anyways,
That's
I left
so
the
cool.
black widow to continue with that, and the next day I came back and opened up the top of the enclosure. You could see the area
careful.
where she was constructing the
Oh
web,
my
and
God.
now she was hiding in this
That is
For
terrifying.
building this enclosure, I built all this forest area just for the spider to make her web right in this little area.
So wait a second, you're telling me that there's a small chance that they could escape this enclosure? Like imagine you have 3 black widows and you go and check it out and all 3 are disappeared. They're gone.
Burn the
what
house,
do you do?
get the insurance.
Especially if they lay eggs, because I think that they lay like 100 eggs at once, and then you have a real big problem.
Well, you have a bunch of tiny problems.
Well, at least she has something, because that means now I can try and feed her a bunch of different types of food
There we
to
go.
see which they like the most. Starting with
Lunchtime.
Now I wanted to start small, and as you can see, these mealworms I bought are absolutely minuscule. They're
Whoa.
barely the size of the tip of my finger, but hopefully the spider will still like them. Using some tweezers, I dropped a mealworm
That thing's
straight
still
into the
huge
spider's
compared
web,
to the
and
spider.
immediately it started to
You've
squirm
been
around
caught.
to try and escape. But spider webs are specifically designed to keep little insects like this stuck in them. All the wiggling around made the black widow come awake, and soon it even crawled
looks
out,
so scary.
only to
like an alien.
walk
Why
right
is it
by
not
the
attacking?
mealworm and run away. In fact, this black widow tried to make a grand escape and even webbed it down the side of my table onto the floor.
Oh, no.
It's on the floor?
Do not go under the table. Do not go under the table.
Anyways, I ended up scooping it into a container.
he not
where
more
I then dropped
terrified?
another mealworm in front of him, and once again, he didn't want to eat it.
Wow.
It's
I
too
wonder
big.
why not.
This black widow's not trying to eat any mealworms, so instead I've got a bag of some tiny little crickets.
And
Widow'll
these I'm going
definitely
to
eat
feed
that.
the
Much better.
second black widow in the cave area. Now, if you remember,
One thing that's pretty creepy about spiders too is after they wrap them up, they inject their prey with a venom that paralyzes them, but the prey is still alive. It just can't move. So it's like it still functions and thinks. And then what the spiders do is they sink their fangs into the prey and then they just suck its blood and its guts. They just suck it all out. They don't actually like eat it and chew it. It's really gross.
You're telling me they suck it up like a go-go squeeze?
Pretty much. Well, the venom also turns all of its insides into go-go squeeze.
Yes,
and then
it
they suck it.
liquefies the insides.
Yeah.
I put this spider in the enclosure on this little plastic lid where I already had a web. And since putting it in 2 days ago, it still hasn't moved
Oh, God.
at all. It might
What?
be dead, actually. But
No.
anyways, I put in some crickets to see if it would eat. And literally right away, one of the crickets jumped towards the spider and
Oh, it
showed
moved.
us him
Alive.
awake, which I
Dang.
guess was a good sign because
So
the spider
big.
was now finally moving. But when I tried to bring the cricket back, it scared the spider and it ran away into into the
They're
cave.
so shy.
I almost lost track of the spider until I came across her again on top of the enclosure where she had somehow escaped
keep
to. I
escaping.
tried to feed her a cricket once again.
Is anybody getting a little bit like weirded out by how casual he is about the Black Widow spider, one of the deadliest spiders of all time, escaping? It could kill him.
Well, he's a trained professional, Jack. Normies like me and you would definitely be freaking out, but he's a trained professional and does this every single day.
Okay.
Black market.
But she just was not having it, so I scooped her back into the plastic container.
Well, it looks like this Black Widow is also not eating, which usually would mean I would go test the third and final food source, which was gonna be just crickets, but a bit bigger. But I kind of have bad
Jeez.
news because I don't really have a spider to feed these to.
Yes, you heard that right. Since putting the third
No!
spider into the house interior section 2 days ago, I haven't seen it.
No!
It literally escaped my enclosure.
Are
And
you
now,
kidding
not only
me?
did I
Every
have
one of them
missing,
escaped!
But I also had 2 more that weren't eating.
This
How's he not freaked
it, though.
out?
Worst idea I've had for a video. Like pet Black Widow. Like what am I thinking? One is escaped and it's literally crawling around my garage. There's only one way I can make
Burn
this
down
up
the
for
house.
content. I gotta let the Black Widow crawl on my arm, just
No!
like I saw Coyote Peter
No!
do at the start.
No,
of the
you
video.
don't.
So-
No, you
You don't
don't.
have to do that.
Black Widow's venom is 15 times more deadly than a rattlesnake. If that thing bites you, you're paralyzed.
Where did you come up with that stat?
It's true. I saw it on Animal Planet.
Okay.
15 times?
15 times, yeah. And a rattlesnake is pretty bad.
They're much bigger too.
Yeah.
Oh, Alex, fact checking.
Fact check.
Statistics show it's actually only 13.5 times.
Come on, 15 times.
Black Widow venom is significantly more potent than a rattlesnake venom, but rattlesnakes inject a larger quantity, making their bites potentially more dangerous.
Got him.
However,
Oh.
Black Widow venom is reportedly 15 times more toxic than rattlesnake venom.
For the win. And Alex
It's
looks
just-
like his little baby
Well,
back.
the difference is the amount of venom that is injected, because Black Widows can only inject a teeny tiny amount, but rattlesnakes inject like a bunch.
Yeah, we
and
got
so
it.
rattlesnakes are actually more potent.
We got to combine them together, and then they'll be the deadliest creature of all time.
Get my mom in here. Hi, Mom. Hi. All right, I'm bringing
Do you
in
think
here
she
today 'cause
knows
I gotta
about
do
the Black Widow
job
mission?
for you. As you know, I always keep the weirdest pets.
I think she's about to
Can you guess
learn.
what pet's in here based off the decorations?
Oh my gosh, is it a black widow?
Yeah, it's
Oh.
a Black Widow.
How did she
No, it's
know?
not.
Yeah,
There's
you see the
3
pictures on the wall?
Yeah.
Yeah, Alex.
Black Widow. Isn't that cool? Why? Okay, I got him onto this little tray
Oh.
for you.
Wait,
Basically, you can see it right there. What
That's
do
what
you
he's about to climb on the mom's hand?
Oh, yeah.
He's a crazy boy.
Why? It's cute. Well, I did say I have a job for you, so can you hold the camera?
Oh, my
Don't
God.
do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it.
Put this on.
This is terrifying.
Hold the camera. All right, as you see, we got the Black Widow in a nice little clear container.
Don't
And
do
I'm
it.
just gonna start by literally putting it on my sleeve like this until it
Okay,
crawls
the
out.
sleeve
See,
is
the
safe.
plan is to have it crawl onto my
Not if it
sleeve,
crawls
and then
under her
from
sleeve.
there, it'll crawl onto my hand. So I basically just waited until it started to crawl out.
I'm not scared. You are.
Super calm right now.
But
you
as
think
you
he
could
has
have guessed,
anti-venom?
of course things went wrong. Because as you can see, it just
Oh.
started to grasp onto the edge of the container
They're
and
so
not let
shy.
go at all. I was probably making it pretty mad, so I
Yeah.
quickly transferred it to a piece of cardboard.
Okay, so I decided to just put them onto a piece of cardboard, and I'll let them crawl out here.
And after gathering together a bunch
Oh,
of courage,
gosh.
I just moved the cardboard in front of my hand to let it happen.
Okay, I'm gonna do it in 3, 2.
Oh, my God.
Father, Jesus, please.
His mom is so nice.
And 3, 2, 1, bite!
Ah!
Dude, my heart's pumping. Oh my gosh, that's crazy. He's a psycho.
That was so
That could go 10 times wrong.
How did you feel doing that?
The heart was going 500 beats a second.
Her
Well,
heart's
there you
beating
have it.
faster than
Probably the
his.
stupidest pet
that's
I've
terrifying.
ever kept. But hey, at least it's gonna be an interesting addition to my collection. Guys, check out the new axolotl hood.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, it turns out having a Black Widow as a pet is kind of tough. You got to keep a close eye on them so they don't escape. But it turns out he did it. He got the Black Widow and he let it crawl on his hand without dying. And if you guys want to see more Terra Green videos, make sure you guys leave a like and click right here to watch him get a turtle.